Sorry, cat's in the way. Hi, DMG Jim here, continuing along with our audiobook mode for the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. We're in Chapter 3. We're continuing along with Marks of Prestige. As usual for the videos, we will be reading through word by word, line by line, and at the end of it, I'll be offering some commentary. Occasionally, I might pause if something needs a little bit of clarification in my opinion, but I'm going to try to read it. Rule is written, word is written until the end of the video, and then we can get into my comments. So if at the end of the video, if you don't want to hear my comments, push pause and get to the next video for audiobook mode. But good to see y'all here. Let's get into it. Chapter 3, Marks of Prestige. Prestige worldwide. Sometimes the most memorable reward for adventurers is the prestige they acquire throughout a realm. Their adventures often earn them fame and power, allies and enemies, and titles that the adventurers can pass on to their descendants. This section details the most common marks of prestige that adventurers might acquire during a campaign. The best rewards in an adventure are directly related to the circumstances of the adventure. For example, if a merchant hires the characters to retrieve a family heirloom from a long abandoned tower, the merchant might give the deed to the tower as a reward. Fortifications. A fortification is a reward usually given to seasoned adventurers who demonstrate unwavering fealty to a powerful political figure or ruling body, such as a monarch, a knighthood, or a council of wizards. A fortification can be anything from a fortress in the heart of a city to a provincial keep on the borderlands. While the fortification is for the characters to govern as they see fit, then the land on which it sits remains the property of the crown or local ruler. Should the characters prove disloyal or unworthy of the gift, they can be asked or forced to relinquish custody of the fortification. In that respect, the fortification is different from the character's bastions, as described in Chapter 8. However, you can also use the gift of a fortification as a pretext for the characters acquiring their bastions. The individual bequeathing the fortification might offer to pay its maintenance cost for 1 or more months, after which the characters inherit that responsibility. The type of fortification determines its maintenance costs as shown in the maintenance cost table. The left hand of the table is your fortification type, just simply describing what might be given to the players. And the right column is the cost per day in gold pieces, the suggested estimated cost of maintenance and staff, etc. So for a fortified outpost or a watchtower, your players will be looking at 50 gold per day for maintenance. A keep or small castle could range up to 100 gold pieces per day for maintenance. A large castle or a fortress is going to be near 400 gold pieces per day for staffing and maintenance. The next one is letters of recommendation. A benefactor might provide adventurers with a letter of recommendation rather than payment. Such a letter usually is enclosed in a handsome folio, case, or scroll tube for safe transport, and it usually bears the signature and seal of whoever wrote it. A letter of recommendation from a person of impeccable reputation can grant adventurers access to NPCs whom they would otherwise have trouble meeting, such as a duke, a duchess, a viceroy, or a monarch. Moreover, carrying such a recommendation on one's person establishes a baseline of trust with local authorities. A letter of recommendation is worth only as much as the reputation of the person who wrote it and offers no benefit where its writer holds no sway. Next category is medals. Although they are often fashioned from gold and other precious materials, medals have an even greater symbolic value to those who award and receive them. Medals are typically awarded by political figures for acts of heroism, and wearing a medal is usually enough to earn the respect of those who understand its significance. Different acts of heroism can warrant different kinds of medals. The King of Breland, for example, in the Eberron setting, might award a royal badge of valor, shaped like a shield and made of ruby and electrum, to the adventurers for defending Brellish citizens. The Golden Bear of Breland, a medal made of gold and shaped in the likeness of a bear's head with gems for eyes, this might be reserved for adventurers to prove their allegiance to the Brellish crown. A medal doesn't offer a specific in-game benefit to the one who wears it, but it can affect dealings with NPCs. For example, a character who displays the Golden Bear of Breland is regarded as a hero of the people within the kingdom of Breland. Outside Breland, the medal carries far less weight, except among allies of the Breland king. Parcels of land. A parcel of land usually comes with a letter from a local ruler affirming that the land has been granted as a reward for some service. Such land usually remains the property of the local ruler or ruling body, but is lent to the character with the understanding that it can be taken away, especially if the character's loyalty is ever called into question. Characters who receive a parcel of land are free to build on it and are expected to safeguard it. They may yield the land as part of an inheritance, but they can't sell or trade it without the permission from the local ruler or ruling body. If a character already has a bastion, see Chapter 8, the parcel of land might surround the bastion or be close to it. Parcels of land make fine rewards for characters who are looking for a place to settle or who have family or a personal investment in the region where the land is located. Special favors. A reward might be a favor that the characters can call on at some future date. Special favors work best when the individual granting them is trustworthy. A lawful good or lawful neutral NPC will do whatever can be done to fulfill an obligation when the time comes, short of breaking laws. A lawful evil character does the same, but only because a deal is a deal. A neutral good or neutral NPC might pay off favors to protect their reputation. A chaotic good NPC is more concerned about doing right by the adventurers, honoring any obligations without worrying too much about personal risk or adherence to the law. Special rights. A politically powerful person can reward characters by giving them special rights, which might be articulated in some sort of official document or proclamation. For example, characters might be granted special rights to attack pirate ships or other enemies of the crown, to lead rites or ceremonies in a community, or to negotiate on a ruler's behalf. They might receive a lifetime of free room and board from the grateful citizens of a community, or gain the sworn service of local soldiers to assist them as needed. Special rights last only as long as the legal document dictates, and such rights can be revoked if the adventurers abuse them. Hey, kitty, right across in the middle of everything. That's okay, baby. I love you. Next section is titles. A politically powerful figure has the ability to dispense titles. A title often comes with a parcel of land, see above. For example, a character might be awarded the title Earl of Storm River or Countess of Dun Fjord, along with a parcel of land that includes a settlement or region of the same name. Archfey are fond of granting whimsical and alliterative titles, such as the Chancellor of Chocolates or the Grand Duke of Giggles, which might come with minor supernatural gifts. See the supernatural gifts later in this chapter, rather than land. A character can hold more than one title, and in a feudal society, those titles can be passed down to or distributed among one's children. A character who holds a title is expected to act in a manner befitting that title. By decree, titles can be stripped away if the character fails to meet the obligations and responsibilities that come with the title. And the next section for this mark of prestige is training. A character might be offered special training. This kind of training isn't widely available and thus is highly desirable. The character must spend 30 days with the trainer to receive a special benefit. Possible training benefits include the following. The character gains proficiency in a skill, or they gain proficiency with a tool, or they can learn a language. Okay. That's the summary of the DM's toolbox for marks of prestige. Rewards other than XP, other than loot, other than magic items that you can grant as players make their way into a campaign. A lot of editorial comments coming in this section. Not from any malice, but because there's a lot to unpack here. So if you're just here for audiobook, go ahead and push that pause. Thanks for hanging out. Jump in on the next section. But if this is a lot for a new DM to understand. This is a lot for a regular DM to understand, because a lot of what starts here leads into bigger questions that get a little bit tougher. So let's start with the fortifications. Let's unpack this. The cost per day is the first thing that you need to keep in mind, which means there's got to be some sort of economy in your world. There's got to be some sort of property value. Now, as a new dungeon master, don't stress it too much. You can give them a house, you can give them an old rundown tower, and you can let your players have fun building it up. But when you start continuing from that point into the world, understand that you're setting a benchmark and a baseline for your economy, okay? How much money is coming and going? How much can be sold? How much can be bought? Does the poor guy in the town of 50 people have 2,000 gold pieces to buy all of your players' jewelry? Think about those kind of things as you start taking a look at these marks of prestige and these bigger world affecting rewards, because now your players are actually having a handprints and fingerprints on your world, whether it's the Forgotten Realms or whether it's your homebrewed world building project, your original creation. Once they start gaining fortifications, ownership of land, and any of these kinds of marks of prestige, the hierarchy of your world will come into play. Maybe even question if you don't set it up well. Letter of recommendation is pretty self-explanatory. This is a fun, easy little thing that you can use to get your party. Give them the social lubricant, if you will, to get through situations that they might be awkwardly indisposed to deal with. Their roleplay may not be great, or they've made some enemies along the way. They need to go back through this region. A letter of recommendation is something they can earn to get them through. It's a nice, quick, easy MacGuffin. Easy tool for a DM to give your players to give them access, basically. They're not good at talking, but they're good at fighting. They're so good at fighting that even though no one can deal with discussing them, this letter says they're good folk. Fine. The next one is medals. Medals sound really fun, but when you start thinking about it, the order of this, the order of that, the order of the other, and are you using medals in description of your non-player characters prior to giving them to your players? Medals can mean something when they see the king or the queen or the grand knight or someone of high rank or renown wearing a medal. So when they get a silver version of the gold medal that the Grand Marshal of Furiondi is wearing in a ceremonial armor, that means something to them. If you suddenly give them a gold star medal and then all of a sudden all of these other people also have this gold medal, that breaks the immersion. So medals are one of those tricky things. They're more for world building. When you set up a knighthood in an order of the Order of the Heart, the Order of the Lance, the Salamnic Knights, for example, if you're using any of those in your campaigns, you have some information to help stage this out. If you're wanting to do this out of thin air, out from scratch, so to speak, take the time to determine the hierarchy of these medals and make sure that they're present in the social situations before you try to give them to your players, if you expect them to accept them as something. Does that kind of make sense there? Parcels of land. This is self-explanatory. You give them a certain acreage of land of whatever, wherever you need. It can become the basis of adventures, but you can also expect it either fades into the background or becomes a home base, in which case sometimes that can bring your campaign a little bit more into a regional aspect, or it can expand them out on the frontier if you put it in certain areas as well. Land can be a good thing, but expect when your players take a parcel of land, they want to invest in it, they want to commit to it most of the time. So you're taking your campaign from a wandering band of nomads running here and there to saving the world to being a little bit more sedentary, a little bit more established in their region. And when they go do something, it's going to be something important, because why am I going to go 50 miles away to fight goblins? I got goblins across the dang river I'm dealing with. Special favors, very convenient, very easy. Another simple tool, simple MacGuffin. Hey, you guys do this for me. I'll tell you what, I'll get you through that gate. I'll pay for passage on your boat, and I'll get you visas to land at the next port. Do this for me, and you can get out of town. Special favors are easy and fun, simple. Good tool for you to have in your box. Pretty much self-explanatory. Likewise with special rights. This might be guild membership. This might be, for example, a Waterdeep group. You can pay for the, as part of finishing up one of their quests, and they own Troll Skull Manor. You can go ahead and cover their dues for the year with a couple various guilds that they might be having issues with. Titles is the next thing to kind of keep in mind here. Again, you're setting a benchmark here. If you now appoint your paladin Duke Chuck of Paladin Greatness, what's below a Duke? What's above a Duke? Have we met any other Dukes? So when you get into using titles, this is also kind of referring back into your medals, your hierarchy. What does the rank system look like in this region? What does the rank look like in relation to each other? Make sure that you're establishing your hierarchy before you present it to your players, because then it means a little bit more. If you got to make it up as you go along, your players are pretty smart. They're going to kind of figure out that That's kind of nice. I would have rather had the +3 sword, because this being count of nothing of nobody means nothing to me. But when they realize a count holds 50 acres and they're responsible for defending this section of the border, and they're given certain amount of resources that go with this as part of their duty, then all of a sudden being a count means something to them. So make sure you're establishing through world building, through your own storyboarding, even if it's just a little flow chart, one of the pyramid charts that we hate to see from our jobs. King at the top, vice king, junior king, executive junior king to the third power. I know I'm being silly at this point, but hopefully you understand mentally what that's going to look like. Establish that, and then titles and medals and parcels of land mean a lot more to your game. The last little bit we'll talk about before I end this video is training, okay? This is an interesting thing. If you use this rule, you're establishing a baseline moving forward that your players may have access to other trainers and 30 days to do it. This is also taking us back to what we were looking at earlier as far as downtime. How long does it take for your players to gain a level? Are they leveling instantaneously, or do they have to rest and train? If it's going to take me 30 days to learn a proficiency in a skill, but when I go from level 5 to level 6, I instantaneously learn the proficiency, you see where that kind of leads. So the training thing is pretty cool, because you're giving your players access to stuff they may not have. You can fill in some gaps in their skills. You can reward them with things that support their role play interests, but be cautious with the time frame, because you're also comparing that to actual leveling. A lot of the things in the Marks of Prestige are excellent tools to reward your players and to add to the world building, the immersion, the stories for your campaigns and your adventurers. But they are all going to require a certain amount of work on your part as the Dungeon Master to either research from the setting that you're using or to establish as you're building your world. But I'm going to go ahead and stop there. The next section we're going to get to is going to be quick and easy. It's just mobs. Not mobile objects coming from our old video games or MMOs, but mobs as far as clusters of stuff. So we'll see you here in a few minutes. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you. And come back for some more. Talk to you soon.